No, that's what we're doing.
You still there?
Yeah.
All right. Read me the card one more time.
Hold on. Oh my gosh. Hold on.
What y'all just do with the card number?
You asking me?
Yeah, what y'all just do with the card number?
Top of the day, beautiful people. Sorry for the tardiness. Had to handle some last minute business info. Oh my gosh, yeah, like they lose information. I was just up there yesterday verifying stuff, so I wouldn't have to do it first thing this morning. But okay. Woo. Breathe, Pamela. Okay. Divine blessings. Okay, guys. Okay. Happy Friday, everybody. The morning has started off a little bit eventful for me, business-wise. All right, but we're here. Sorry I'm late. Okay, it is Friday, June the 17th, 2022, day 135 of year 4 of reading through the books of the Law and the Prophets, another 4-year consecutive day count, day 1153. We're going to pick back up today in the book of Fragga Patty in Oahspe on page 227. And if we get time after we get finished reading this, we'll go ahead and jump into the meditation book. If not, we'll definitely get to it tomorrow. Maybe, you know what, I'm going to just go ahead and just make a call. We're just going to get to it tomorrow. Because we actually almost done with the book of Fragga Patty. So we can just read it all today, if I can get through the rest of it. All right, so let's get started. Father, we thank you for another day to be here on post, looking for truth, searching for truth. Bless all those who are right along here with me. Where is my Two, did you take my tag? My tag out of here? No. Okay. Not sure what happened to it. They got it straight. Oh.
I like dealing with them sometimes. They just raggedy to me. They're not professional enough.
Yeah. Grand Rising, Auntie. Divine blessings. Alicia, yeah. I got your text here, girl. I was up. Okay, y'all. Chapter 38. Did y'all get a chance to look at the over in, I posted in both places, the community section. I took the excuse me. I was happy to see that I could copy and paste. I didn't type all that out, just to let y'all know what I posted yesterday. I posted the it's a list of portraits. It's called the list of portraits in here, but it gives you the name of the prophets that are listed through here in the Oahspe, and it gives a quick description about them. Excuse me, even all the way down to Joshua, which in the Bible he's known as JC. But it's interesting when we get to that part about him. Okay, so I posted that, and I also posted the preface. No, I didn't post the preface. They got it called something different here. The Oahspe page is actually page 1 in here. I'm sorry. And it gives like a quick overview. And I was going to post the voice of man, which I think I will still today. It's a little bit longer. It's like, that's why I was debating, because it's like 2 and almost like 2.5 pages. I'm not sure it's going to let me fit all those characters in there when I try and post it. But we'll see. I think it's good, especially for those ones that, don't have the book or can't get it, or for some reason can't pull up the link. I don't know. But I think it's good information to have. Tiffany, hey girl, hey. So, y'all. Uncle JB, Grand Rising. Mom, shalom, shalom. Harriet, Shalom, beloved sister. All right, let's get started, y'all. Chapter 38, at the bottom of page 227. When Echad had discovered the history of these hills, he searched and found the king's spirit and also the counselors, but alas, they knew nothing, being in chaos, or more like one in a troublesome nightmare from which there is no awakening. Okay, so I know like we just started, but I was thinking about this because yesterday we was reading about these hills and stuff, and I remember last year, definitely was last year when we was going through this. I remember when I was watching Bait to Phyllis channel, right? Y'all watch Bait to Phyllis. He did this whole he got a couple playlists. I still really love his channel. He has a playlist about JC, how he never existed, who was he, had he ever been mentioned in previous prophecies in the Old Testament, all that stuff. Is a really good playlist, and his videos are like really concise and straight to the point, pulling all the references and stuff, right? I was like, oh, this is good. But he also, there's a video that shows you how, excuse me, the character JC was developed from like not just the Old Testament characters, but previous religion or even current religions characters that they have, right? And so he shows pictures, and that one I think is probably like almost 30-45 minutes because it's really, really good detail. But anyway, as I was going through his videos and I'm going through like my transitioning phase, Christianity, Hebrew roots, and all that stuff. Yes, Paul.
Well, we can get some cake.
Dad said y'all can get some of his cake today. Okay, just hold on. So as I was going through it, there was a video that he did. Oh, great spirit, shalom, shalom, Ali, shalom. Listen, so as he was going through everything, now mind you, he's a Caucasian gentleman. Not that it has anything to do with anything because it doesn't. But excuse me. But the reason why I brought that up is because sometimes, a lot of times, at least from my experience, I could be completely wrong with this, but at least from my experience, not to sound racist or anything, but it seemed like Black people, from my experience, from what I understood at the time, it seemed like different types of spirits or spiritual things would happen to Black people. Like I said, from my observance, that I wouldn't necessarily see happening to white people or people of different races. I'm like, okay, so it seemed like it's the Black people that's always getting like attacked or demon possessed. And I know I had certain type of dreams and experiences where I literally felt in my flesh and I was there and I could see and smell stuff. So excuse me, as I was going through his videos looking for this, somebody had asked a question and he was addressing it. They was asking about demons. I was like, oh, good question, because I wonder when they're gonna do a video about this, because they exist, that's what I was calling them at the time. I was like, there has to be some kind of explanation for this right here. I was like, now all this other stuff I can get with. I said, but somebody needs to be able to explain to me what's happening to me spiritually, like what I was labeling demonic attacks and all that stuff and people getting demon possessed. But his videos, he did one, and I think it's called like the truth about Satan. I think it's like I forget, but it has Satan in the title, and he's talking about it, and he said that the Bible in the Old Testament never mentioned anything about demon possession or anything like what the church talks about. And so I went through, I was like, well, yeah, we don't really see that. But I wonder if there was. But you see it all through the New Testament, right? But at that point, I was on the fritz with the New Testament. So I was like, yeah, they done made that up, but not really. I don't think so, because there are some things that I definitely seen with my own two eyes and experienced. There's definitely otherworldly entities that are like attacking people, me being included, and also people who have dreams of going to hell and coming back, like the vivid explanations of everything. And that right there was just stumping me. And I'm like, okay, so I can't just completely, all these people is not making this up. Because at one point I was like, well, maybe they just watched something. But I was like, no, because I couldn't set aside my own personal experiences and things that I had seen. I said, something exists. I said, and the Bible is, well, at least the Old Testament is not explaining that. Right. And even when I was going through the Apocrypha, it really wasn't explaining it either. So I was like, okay, this There's got to be something. The closest I got to explaining that was Enoch chapter 15, when it was talking about the spirits who would be on earth, who are the offspring of like the Nephilim and the Raphaim or whatever, and they would be bound to the earth, attacking those in the flesh. I'm like, okay, so yeah, I get that. That must be them, but I'm still not really getting like a clear explanation of what this is, right? So I was like, you know what? And even a couple of people asked, does hell exist? I was like, at this point, I don't know, but I know there's something that's pretty friggin' scary, you know. And so I would say yeah, but no, I don't really know, right? Okay. So this helps me really understand. So when you have these spirits that are shot, murdered, killed, whatever, born into chaos, die before their allotted period of time that they're supposed to have while they grow here, like you're supposed to pass from this realm, this earth, peacefully, full of years, full of experience and everything, so you can continue your growth process, right? If that is cut short by foolery that happens here on this realm that you put yourself in, or that somebody else put you in, or things that you get caught up in by mistake, whatever, you're born in as a in you're born into the spiritual realm in chaos, right? And if you linger around the earth, like if you get murdered, I almost want to say 100%. I can't say 100% because I ain't there. I don't know. Bless you, Pooh. But those who are like murdered, unsolved mysteries and stuff, people that go to places, got haunted houses, those were humans who left this earth and their spirits were born in chaos. And they're lingering around, hanging on to family members, friends, or whatever, loved ones, and they waiting for the people that sent them there, right? So people, we read yesterday that as soon as like they die, the druhas and fetals and familiars that had been lingering around the earth, they literally snatch the newly dead and take them to places and torment them, right? I'm like, holy crap, this is really real. I'm like, I'm glad I'm not like this evil person that like just like to get over on people and just like to do stuff. I was like, because I don't know that I'd be able to do that. Some people think that they get away with a lot of stuff while they're here, and you don't. And y'all actually allows it. He said he allows it for a period of time, right? It's like the law of karma. What goes around comes around. The golden rule. You want to look at it from the perspective that the Bible calls it, right? Okay, listen to this, y'all. When Echad had discovered the history of these hells, he searched and found the king's spirit and also the counselors. Okay, well, I'm gonna have to take your truck because I gotta take Elijah to go pick up the rental car. Yeah, okay. I mean, you can take my truck. I'll just take yours. Is there something wrong with yours? Oh, I'll get it because I'm leaving right after I'm done. Wait, where? How far away did you park? Oh, okay.
Then
I'm sorry. Let me start it over. Chapter 38. We still ain't got past verse 1. Chapter 38. When Echad had discovered the history of these hells, he searched and found the king's spirit and also the counselors, but alas, they knew nothing, being in chaos, or more like one in a troublesome nightmare from which there is no awakening. But Echad appointed physicians and nurses for them, and it was 3 days. And it was 3 days before they began to awake. And after days, it has reference number 40, and it says it was 3 years. The previous edition said it was 3 years. Up here it says it was 3 days. But Echad appointed physicians and nurses for them, and it was 3 days before they began to awake. But yet, at the time of Fragapati's visit, they were not sufficiently restored to know who they were, or if knowing one moment would forget in the next moment. Yet it was not many days after the deliverance of the hells that Echad had the inhabitants removed to Hiram and the colonies thereof. Jan Grand Rising. On page 228, verse 3. Echad, having been informed by heralds that Fragapati was coming, sent word to his lords and to his generals and captains and superintendents of schools and of factories and of hospitals to come to Hiram and enjoy 3 days recreation, bringing as many atmospherians as they could with them. So Fragapati came and the host of Echad, and there was great rejoicing for the space of 3 days, during which time Fragapati visited all the places and labors of Echad, having records made thereof. Excuse me. To take with him to Ethera at the end of dawn. Excuse me, I got a sip of water. I'm sorry. Okay. My voice and my wind still getting better daily. All right. Okay. Now, at the end of 3 days' recreation, the trumpet in the east called the council to labor and the host to order. Fragapati sat in the midst of the throne, Echad next to him, and then Hoab and Yatanti, and then Thule and Aspasia and Gathia, and others of lesser rank. And after Gathia, reference 41 says Gathio. A light immediately gathered above the throne, but this time deep scarlet with white border. Fragapati said, "Thy voice, O Jehovah, be upon these people." Whereupon the Esinars chanted a hymn, and after that the voice of Jehovah spake out of the light, saying, "Whosoever raiseth up my children do I raise up with my own hand. To whomsoever uttereth my words in wisdom and truth do I speak from my judgment seat. Because ye have come down from your exalted kingdoms in the upper heavens and raised up the Druhas of these heavens, so come I from my all highest holy place to raise you up. As ye have prepared to found my word with mortals, so prepare I here in Hiram a heavenly place of delight. Was I not with the Ehims since the creation of man on earth? And wherein they have been faithful unto me, have I come in great security. Now, behold, the earth rose up against my chosen and sought to destroy them, but they utterly failed. And when they cast my faithful servant into the lion's den, yet would he not violate his oath, even though he suffered death. And I stretched forth my hand and took his hat, red with blood, out of the lion's den, and I gave power unto the hat. And into the far off country of Japheth will I take the title of King of the Sun, and bestow it upon Yasiang, and neither Arabinia nor Parsi shall endure in holiness. Behold, I give you a new sign in addition to the triangle, and it shall be the sign of Hiram, scarlet hat, from this time forth, signifying faith even unto death. That might be in our title today. Okay. And after death, it has a reference letter N, and on page 236 that says, "The cardinals of the Christian religion have no right to wear the red hat. Their faith is in Christ, the idol, and not in Jehovah. In the Masonic order, however, the master is entitled to wear it because they profess only the great spirit, Jehovah, the architect." How many of y'all knew that? Shayla, hey girl, hey. Excuse me. The hat should be blood red and have no rim, and its name evidently should be Hiram. I'm gonna read this again. The cardinals of the Christian religion have no right to wear the red hat. Their faith is in Christ, the idol, and not in Jehovah. Remember, the cardinals of the Catholic faith, they're like the up and coming priests, right? Their faith is in Christ, the idol, and not in Jehovah. In the Masonic order, however, the master is entitled to wear it because they profess only the great spirit, Jehovah, the architect. The hat should be blood red and have no rim, and its name evidently should be Hiram, 1882 edition. The voice ceased, and Fragapati turned the red light. I'm sorry. The voice ceased, and Fragapati turned to the red light and stretched forth his hand and took thereof, saying, of thy scarlet, O Jehovah, give unto thy servant a Hiram as an emblem of this heaven. And he fashioned it into a hat without a brim and laid it on the throne. Presently, a swift messenger from without desired admittance before Fragapati, and he was permitted to come. He said, greeting to thee, O Fragapati, son of Jehovah, and by the love of Eok, god of She, in Ood, grade 6, I am sent before thee in Jehovah's name. Behold, one Habak is without, who was the wearer of Hiram. Fragapati said, admit him and bid him approach the throne of God. The swift messenger retired and presently returned, bringing in Habak, faithful unto death. And he went up to the throne, and Fragapati took the scarlet hat, saying, second only to Jehovah's crown, with Hiram, cover I thy head in the name of the Creator. And he placed it on Habak's head, and the light of it was so great that hardly any but Etherians could look upon it. Then Habak said, by this thy power, O Jehovah, will I go now and deliver unto everlasting light the king's soul of him who slew me. And I will restore the council also, but they will remember the scarlet hat, and it will be as an anchorage for their crazed minds to rest upon. So I keep want to call him Habakkuk. His name is Hab-Bak. Habakkuk saluted on the sign of the triangle and departed. And now was come the time of departure for Fragapati and his host. So he instructed Gethia. It has a reference number 42, and 42 also says Gethio. So he instructed Gethia and bade him travel with him. Then Fragapati instructed the council, which was after the manner of his instruction to the preceding councils. And then he descended to the foot of the throne, and the marshals caused the people to march before him. And Fragapati created flowers and drapery and ornaments, and gave to everyone something as they passed, as though they were more. I'm sorry. And Fragapati created flowers and drapery and ornaments, and gave to everyone something as they passed by, though there were more than 100 million souls. And after 100, it has 43, and it says 1,000 million. Verse 14. And when they had all passed and resumed the places assigned them, Fragapati sat down at the foot of the throne in ancient custom, and Akkad descended down to him, taking his hand, and he said unto him, arise, O chief, thou son of the Most High, and go thy way. Fragapati rose up and departed, followed by the gods and goddesses officiating, and they all went into the Avalanza and departed, going to the kingdom of Gerakshi, Lord God over Hellas and her heaven. Also, I'm gonna post today. It'll be a little while after we get started. There's a chart I found, which I didn't see, and maybe we just kind of overlooked in the beginning of here, or maybe it's back here somewhere. But there's a chart with the different ranks of God, Lord, and all the rest of them, and it also gives the different names that Yah is called throughout it here. The Great Spirit, Jehovah, Ormaz. It's a list of them, so I think that'd be really helpful. It's a really good quick reference to go to. So I'll post that for y'all. It's in the, I don't know the link, but it's in the online version. When you go to the index for the Oahspe, where it gives you it's like the table of contents. It's I forget which one it is, but it's in that first section of them. And I was clicking the links. It's like the first section. I can't remember exactly where, but I was like, oh, I gotta post this. But it has charts in it. So Um, I hope it when I copy and paste it, I may have to adjust it a little bit because I don't think it's gonna post like I copy it. So we'll see. I'll make it so it's legible so we can understand. Oh, Alicia, I just saw your comment. Did you just post that? Like on Ghost. You might be, I don't know, you might have a lag or something. But yes, exactly, just like on Ghost. Um, I know this is from when we first started. Yeah, if y'all seen the movie Ghost with Patrick Swayze, I can just assume from the movies or whatever, based on what we read and hear, that the guy I think the murderers of him, like the dark spirits came, and when it was time for him to go, when he had actually passed, they came and drug his soul down to hell or whatever, right? Yeah, Yah is completely just. Like this sounds horrible, but not really. But it kind of seemed that way. Although Yah is watching over everything and he allows things to get straightened out, he kind of lets you get your lick back, if that makes sense. Not to say that y'all go do something, but according to this, right, it's kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of like, well, at least from my understanding, like with my kids, right? So when my sons get to fighting, if an older one pick on a younger one, right? And the young, okay, well, Isaiah's not really like that, but Josiah, he's a 9. But if it's weird because sometimes it's Bella, sometimes it's Isaiah, and they're younger. But I kind of try to temper it. But I'm trying to teach them, first of all, don't be fighting your siblings, right? But if one of them is on purpose picking with the other one, and I can see it's kind of harmless, and they go to hit him, I say hit him back. Get your lick back. It'll teach you to keep your hands off of him, or vice versa, right? I'll do that from time to time, but not always. Sometimes they just pluck my nerves. It's like, both of you stop, I'm gonna get the both of you, right? So based on the interaction with my own children and some of the stuff I'm reading through here and just some of the things I understand, it almost seemed like, but he don't let it go overboard. You know how you see the fights out in the street? He don't do that, but he do let you get your lick back, so to speak, because I don't know, it just seems like a balance and justice, all the way around. Then he comes and he restores the both of you. I hope I explained it the right way. Amen, Ali. Okay, what was that? Okay, 39. When Ger-Akshi arrived at his division of the earth and heaven, the voice of Jehovah came to him, saying, My Lord and God, excuse me, my Lord and God, hear thou the voice of thy father. In thy division I have no Ehims left upon the earth, and the place is like a field without seed. The Ehuans have degenerated also by marrying with the Drooks, and thou art come to this my farm when it is grown up, full of weeds and thistles. Look about thy division, and thou shalt find no Lewis nor Ashars of any avail to righteousness. Consider then what shall be done, that both mortals and spirits may be made to know me and my kingdoms. Okay. All right. And you got the trucks, right? The trucks.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. All right. Look about that division, and thou shalt find no Lewis nor Ashars of any avail to righteousness. Consider then what shall be done, that both mortals and spirits may be made to know me and my kingdoms. Gorakshi found the mortals of Helesti. Maybe it's Helest. Garakshi found the mortals of Helest to be barbarians, many of them naked or at best clothed with the skins of animals to keep them warm in the winter. Some of them burrowed in the ground, and some lived in houses made of bark and leaves and grass, and their food was mostly fish and flesh. Their cities were numerous but small, and every city spake a different language. That's how you can clear, well, we call it demon possession, but that's how you can clearly tell some person still with their fleshly body has been dropped into the sunken place, and a droop or fetal has been engrafted upon them. They are completely out of their mind, and they don't like to keep clothes on. They naked. That's a telltale sign according to this. They stripping you of your clothes. If they get their hands on you, fighting you, they stripping themselves of their clothes, and they just, it's a sad scene to see. Verse 4, their weapons of war were clubs and spears and bows and arrows, but they had neither iron nor copper and used stone for cutting. Garakshi said, what incentive can I give such a people that will raise them up? Garakshi then surveyed his heavens, but alas, there were no kingdoms, no organizations, no societies. As mortals lived and died, so continued their spirits around about in the same places, procuring substance in the same way, but spiritually, and often taking part in mortal wars and hunting, seeing and hearing through their mortal kin's eyes and ears. So you have some seers and fortune tellers and all those people, not everybody, but those who have fetals hanging around them and familiar spirits and stuff, and they talk to them. Like, it's a lot of them, y'all. It's a lot of them on YouTube, right? Because I go to some of their channels trying to figure out of what nature there are. But the more that I'm learning through here, it's clear to me. I can pinpoint those who have fetals and drudges, druhas, familiars talking to them, right? Everything that they tell here's a telltale sign. Everything that they tell you, it may not be everything, but I would say, at least from what I've heard, I'm not gonna call any names for them, but just if you see some tarot readers, all of them, right? Those who are in tune with the ancestors, not all of them, but a good deal of them, right? A lot of stuff that they tell you, it's they're, how can I say this? They do readings. Some of them, they do readings for people who pass. Like a lot of them, they do celebrity readings on people. They'll do, well, I say they'll do celebrity readings on people who have passed, right? And if that information that's coming from that source that has already passed, say somebody like they conjure up Michael Jackson or something like that, all the information, they may give them true information, but it seems to me a lot of the information, and it could be telling some things that's truly going to happen, but it's always almost like that get back type spirit, and it's always information about a war or something that's going to happen, and it may not necessarily be a war, and it could be, but it could be that we coming for you and war's coming to your house because now it's your time to come and join us. It's interesting. I'm not telling y'all to go follow those channels and look at them, but I be doing research, so I be being nosy into a lot of people's stuff, trying to put all these pieces together, trying to figure out who is who and how they and what that looks like today operating here based on all the information that I have. It's interesting if you come across it, so be aware, be very aware, y'all. Okay. Oh yeah. Verse 7, I'll read again. Garakshi said, what incentive can I give such angels that will raise them up? If I tell the mortals to till the soil and make clothes of flax and wool, my words will be interpreted as folly or as implying hardships. If I tell the angels there are higher heavens, more beautiful, my words will be disbelieved. If I tell them that all growth dependeth upon exercise and labor, they will decline to grow. Have I not seen rich men and rich women in other countries whom I told that in order to rise, they must learn to labor? but they heeded me not. Jehovah said to Barakshi, Thou hast more than 1,000,000,000 druhas in thy department. The mountains and valleys and forests are filled with them, roving about. As thou would entrap birds by rich bait, so shalt thou gather together all thou canst of these druhas. But as to mortals, thou shalt call famines into certain places, and thus drive them to observe the unseen cause of things. I'm gonna read this again. But as to is reference 44, and at the bottom it says, but as to thy mortals. Okay. Verse 9. Jehovah said to Garakshi, and this is, I'm gonna read this again because this is we talked about this a lot, or I reminded y'all a lot about this, that when things start going awry, you need to consider your ways, see what's happening, right? And this is like that same principle. And you think everything is good, but you can't seem to win for losing, stop, consider your own ways. It causes you to consider the unseen things, right? To make sure that you are truly not out of place, or if it's some else happening around you that you need to be aware of and take care of. Listen, and that's in the Bible, in the Old Testament. Excuse me. Verse 9. Jehovah said to Garakshi, Thou hast more than 100,000,000,000 druhas in thy department. The mountains and valleys and forests are filled with them, roving about. As thou would entrap birds by rich bait, so thou shalt gather together out all thou canst of these druhas. But as to mortals, thou shalt call famines into certain places, and thus drive them to observe the unseen cause of things. Garakshi called together his hosts, millions and millions. He said unto them, Form ye in sacred circles, hundreds of thousands, and go to the places I will point out, and invoke the higher heavens in Jehovah's name. Cast ye a famine there, and a blight in the animals of the forest. Into the water cast ye imbrele, Imbrele. Into the water, into the water cast ye imbrele, that the fish may die. Make mortals stop and consider. Let the Ashars go, then and find the most. Let the Ashars go, then and find the most prophetic among mortals, and make them prophesy concerning the famines and the blight. Make ye their prophets objects of worship. Then I can rule the inhabitants of the earth through the prophets. We've seen that. Concerning the angels, Garakshi said, 5 heavenly places will I build for the Druhas. One shall be called Monk, one Akka, one Troy, one Biom, and one Helen. 5 lords shall be my lords to rule in my heavenly divisions. Kiliope, Lord of Monk, Itius, Lord of Akka, Phoebe, Lordess of Troy, Lyrii, Lordess of Biom, and Koyi, Lord of Helen. These shall be excuse me. These shall be heavenly places in the mountains, pure and delightful. And ye shall make them places of feasting and sporting for 1 whole year. Nothing that can be done to make them attractive. Oh, okay. I might need to get some honey, y'all. My throat feel like it's dry, and it's you know how like your sinuses drain and it make your throat dry, and then like you got a cough. I'm sorry. I'm getting better day by day, y'all. And ye shall make them places of feasting and sporting for 1 whole year. Nothing that can be done to make them attractive for Druhas shall be left undone. Into 5 divisions, 500,000 each, shall my hosts be selected and apportioned, whose mission shall be able to go around about throughout Helest, bringing in Druhas to my 5 heavenly places. As for myself, I will build a plateau in these mountains, the Aguadica, the Aguadica, with a council of 500,000. Let my lords stand aside, and I will apportion to each of them their attendants. By the starlights that fall upon them shall they be known and come forth. The lords stood aside in different places. Gorakshi then cast stars until the 3,000,000 were selected. After that, Gorakshi proceeded according to the voice of Jehovah, and he conducted his host to the places the Father commanded. After they were all placed, Gorakshi chose his own council and built a plateau and a throne to Jehovah on Mount Aguadica. And when he considered the wisdom of the manner Jehovah had directed him to thus lay a foundation for so great a work, he soliloquized, saying, he soliloquized, saying, O Jehovah, will these Druhas ever understand the manner of thine armies? Will these mortals ever understand the proceedings of thy lords and gods? For 1 year the host entertained and fed and clothed the Druhas sumptuously, and they won them away from the earth, won them to the kingdoms prepared for them. And then Gorakshi commanded the founding of schools, factories, and hospitals in heaven, and he apportioned Ashar's and Asaph's and began the resurrection through his lords. And by the 4th year, he had colonized in his heaven, excuse me, he had colonized in his heaven nearly all the Druhas, giving them sufficient recreation to restrain them from returning to the earth. Cameron Shalom. Okay. Verse 19. For a long time prior to Fragapati's coming, he had it proclaimed, giving invitations to them to be present. Thus he communicated to Fragapati through messengers. So Fragapati, knowing the grade of the place, determined to come in gaudy colors and with sufficient music, very loud, and for the manifestation of power, to match which Gorakshi had his people attire themselves in the greatest gaudy colors, for in such manner do the unlearned judge of the glory and possibilities of high heaven. So it came to pass, Fragapati's avalanza descended from above like a sea of fire, but decorated in thousands of ways with banners, flags, curtains, and such other ornaments as would convey the idea of greatness to the minds of the Essenes. On the other hand, Gorakshi had decorated his place and kingdom and throne, Aguadica, in the most extravagant splendor, and he and his lords and his captains and generals and his holy council were arrayed majestically. In addition to these things, Gorakshi had provided a feast which was to succeed the ceremonies, and after the feast there were to be divers entertainments. But of these matters, who knoweth the thought of Jehovah? How hath he not provided ingenuities to bring the dark soul to understanding? Gorakshi said, to teach mortal teachers how to teach the barbarian. Hold on. Gorakshi said, to teach mortal teachers how to teach the barbarian, O Jehovah, to teach cold awe, to impart warm mirth, O Jehovah. Shall they build a prison and decorate the convict in fine clothes and bid him to take his ease, beholding the virtuous working for him, O Jehovah? That's an exclamation point and not a question. Will they ever learn thy power in resurrection, O Jehovah? Okay, and so we at chapter 40, which is chapter XL in Roman numerals. Fragapati and his host remained 30 days with Gorakshi, and great was the enjoyment of the people. And then Fragapati departed, going to the kingdoms of Europa, which is Europe, going to the kingdoms of Europa, first goddess of a barbarian division of the earth. The voice of Jehovah had been with her from the first, but there were but few corporeans in her division and only 600 million angels, mostly Druhas. Nevertheless, Jehovah said unto Europa, Thou shalt found here a kingdom in my name, and it shall become mighty in heaven and earth. Europa said, What is the first best way, O Jehovah? Jehovah answered, saying, As for the Druhas, thou knowest. But as for the Corporeans, behold, they have neither copper nor iron, but use stone. Send therefore of thy host of Ashars 500 who are well skilled in the art of inspiring mortals to Arabia, and thou shalt cause 50 men to migrate into thy lands. And the 50 men shall be such as are skilled in mining and working copper and iron. And thy Ashars shall inspire them to go to the mountains and find the ore, and then to work the same, to make tools of, and to make implements for hunting and fishing. So Europa sent angels to Arabia, and they inspired 50 men to go to Europa and find copper and iron and work it. So remember, Arabia is like Arabia in northeast Africa, which they call the Middle East. Audrey, shalom, shalom. Okay, I'll read verse 4 again. So Europa sent angels to Arabia, and they inspired 50 men to go to Europa and find copper and iron and work it. And in the space of 4 years, behold, there had gone out of Arabia not less than 20,000 men, and the Ashars inspired them to marry with the Drupes and half-breed Ehuans. And in this way, a new people of higher light was born into Europa's division. In Zygo, Europa built her heavenly kingdom and founded the city of Oahspe. 500,000 angels were her holy council, and 50,000 captains of Ashars, 2 million partly Etherians and partly Atmospherians. And her kingdom was of the kind and manner of Garakshi's, and her administration in the same way. And in 4 years, she had rescued nearly all the Druhas in these regions of atmosphere. So when Fragapati came to see her, she provided entertainments after the same manner as did Garakshi, having all her hosts present. Just to remind you, I know sometimes we get lost with all the reading. I just want to keep reminding you of what's actually happening. All the souls that have been cast into hell, those are the Druhas, right? And so all of this, the heavenly account, during their account, during the God's rule in the heaven, we're still reading the heavenly account, which is the book of Fragapati. And right after this, we're going to go back and I think it's the book of the first God. Don't quote me. But we got to go back to read the earthly account. But remember, all this work that they're doing is to redeem the souls that have been cast into hell. So those that are cast into the hells or those that are lingering around as fetals and Druhas, they don't remain there. They may remain there for a period of time from if they die right at the end of like one of the ruling reigns while the Druhas are being cleaned up, they may not be a Druha fetal that long. And everybody that died does not become a fetal or a Druha or familiar spirit. Those who learn, as I'm learning, those of us like us, we're learning about this stuff. We should not find ourselves in that position of becoming a demon, a Druha, drudge, whatever. When we pass on from here, we should be able to continue our learning, like go to the next class, so that lower heaven, we should be so light, our spirit should be so light and cleansed that we're literally, and for lack of better words, we should literally be able to float through like that lowest heaven, that's Maybe I'm explaining this wrong. You should be able to float above all the madness and get to where you can keep learning. You should be able to get to the safe place, get to the school at the next level, and not be hanging around here on earth. That makes sense. I hope that makes sense. Okay. Which is why, yeah. Otherwise, you can call it low vibrational entities will just kind of like drag you down and keep you here, right? So if you leave this earth all mad and dejected, and by one way or another, it's probably almost certain. I can't say almost, but from what I'm seeing, what I understand now, you're gonna kind of degenerate, especially if you didn't want to go. You're gonna find your family members. You're gonna latch onto them, right? And so those family members that be hearing the voices and stuff, and probably had you doing crazy things, and some not or whatever, but you might want to consider what's really happening. Okay. So it's they're taking all this time to redeem all those lost, not really lost spirits who have found themselves degenerated into certain levels. Okay. Verse 7. After this, Fragapati visited Kawaina and his heavenly kingdoms and also his earth divisions. Next, Fragapati visited Mawingmi and his heavenly kingdoms and earth divisions. Next, he visited Oahspe and his places, and then Sufwa. With all these lords and gods, Fragapati spent many days examining and recording all the labor done, and he spake before all of them, so that his voice was heard by nearly all the people in the lower heavens. And so great was the work accomplished by Fragapati with any one of these lords or gods that were a history thereof written. Oh, I'm reading it wrong. Okay. And so great was the work accomplished by Fragapati with any one of these lords or gods that were a history thereof written, it would require the whole lifetime of a man to read it. Nor is it possible with earth words to describe the beauty and glory of a single one of these recreations in his travels. All right, chapter 41, where we at? 52 minutes. Okay, this is 38. So we 38 verses. So we'll finish after this chapter. Okay, chapter 41. The close of dawn was near at hand. Fragapati returned to Monroe, the heavenly kingdom of Harati in atmosphere, richly stored with the knowledge of the earth and her heavens. The capital was illuminated, and the decorum of the higher heavens prevailed. Already were there assembled more than 4,000 million angels prepared for the third resurrection. Fragapati sent word to his Lord gods and to his lords and gods and to Samati, God in inherent right up to the end of dawn. And he notified all of them of the day and hour when he should accomplish the resurrection. And then Fragapati called his swift messengers whose labor is with the thrones of Jehovah in Ethera. He said, Behold, the dawn of Dan is near the close. The brides and bridegrooms of Jehovah will number 10,000 million souls. Two divisions will I make of grades 55 and 70 for the forests and plains of Guchmala. This ye shall communicate to Hosea, no, Hoseis, Hosea, Hosea. I messed it up. This ye shall communicate to Hosea, goddess of Alawacha, on the road of Afokistan, saluting in Jehovah's name and of his son Fragapati, chief. The swift messenger saluted and then departed. Next, he called the messengers for the kingdoms below. And of these messengers, there were 20,000 divided into 12 groups, and they had been previously apportioned to certain divisions of heaven and earth. To them, Fragapati said, To the Lord God of each division, and to the lords and gods, and through them to the officers under them, greeting in the name of Jehovah. Appoint and anoint the successors in Jehovah's name, and when your kingdom is in order, appear ye at the throne of Monroe, for the resurrection of my host is near at hand. Provide ye ships and such vessels as are suitable, and bring visitors from your kingdoms and most holy places, as many atmospherians as desire to come, that they may witness the ceremonies and the ascent of Jehovah's sons and daughters. And these commandments were carried into the and these commandments were carried unto all the divisions of the corporal earth and her heavens. Fragapati then said unto Athara, thou shalt receive the brides and bridegrooms. Remember, we're familiar with brides and bridegrooms from the Bible. But the more I read here, the more I understand that it is really, really incomplete. And it has us believing something in the wrong way. It's really skewed, right? It is really skewed about the brides and the bridegrooms and how you attain the resurrection. You're going to definitely go through your life here on earth, right? You ain't going to be, unless you die, you don't, unless you die here in the flesh and move to the next level. Like that's a part of this level, dying. You will die at some point in time, hopefully not prematurely. Um, but the brides and the bridegrooms, those who do actually graduate, aren't those just sitting around just waiting for Jesus to come take them through the rapture and stuff. That is not how that happens. You have to, your understanding and your maturity of spirit has to reach a certain grade before you can graduate with the class. And the first graduating class is the brides and the bridegrooms. That's like the first title you get when you graduate, the lowest levels, like graduating high school, the graduates, right? Or you know what, you can do it from like shucks, they graduating you from pre-K now. You graduate from pre-K, then you graduate from elementary school, then you graduate from middle school, or some places have elementary, intermediate, then middle school, then high school. Some they combine the intermediate and the middle. And so as you graduate from elementary, then from middle school, then from high school, it seems like the same process spiritually. So graduating from the earth would literally be like graduating from pre-K, y'all. Like seriously, from what I'm understanding, I'm like, this is the first freaking level. Like we are all really in pre-K, right? So graduating as a bride and bridegroom is like the first graduation. And then there's subsequent graduations as you gain in understanding and rank in the spiritual realms, right? Until you reach the rank of like Lord, not the false ones, but Lord God. Oh, which one? I might have a mix up. I think it's God, then Lord God. What's up, God? Anyway, I'm gonna get the ranks together. I forget what order, but I know God is the highest here on earth, like the president of the United States. You can attain to the different ones, Ashars, Asaphs, Lords, Lord gods, sub gods, God. Then after that, then I forget the names of those after that, right? That's what we're gonna learn about in here. So we need to get this first level. We all need to graduate from pre-K. Like all of us here, we will probably, if everybody stay on track, we all may pass from here at different times in life, many years down the road. But we possibly, if you stay on track, y'all, we might be in the same graduating class of bride and bridegrooms. I'll be looking for y'all. I know it's a long time away, but I'll be looking for some of y'all. Okay. At least that's what my thinking is, as what I understand up to the day. Okay, verse 6. And these commandments were carried unto all the divisions of the corporal earth and her heavens. Fragapati then said unto Athara, thou shalt receive the brides and bridegrooms. As for myself, I will go down to the earth and receive God and Zarathustra, and they shall be born into mine own ship, even unto this place, and thence to Ethera. In all the places on earth and in heaven, the spirit inhabitants were stirred to the utmost. In Haiti, there were already more than 4,000 colonies, and and everyone had thousands and thousands eligible to the third resurrection who would depart in the coming ascension. Of these were the persons of every occupation, and they were perfect in their order, belonging to groups and series of groups. And now the captains and generals were reorganizing them into phalanxes, and the gods again organizing the phalanxes into kingdoms. Zeredho sent her contributions to Hareti, 400 million souls. The Lord gods were making their groups into their own several divisions to be further organized after arriving at Monroe, the place whence the final ascension would take place. Some of these had 1,000 million of their own resurrection, including whom they had previously sent to Hareti. Fragapati sent special messengers to God, Samati, to learn the day appointed for Zarathustra's death, and he further allotted to Zarathustra 3 days in Hada in which to preach to mortals by the inspiration of God, and appointed the fourth day thereafter as the time of his ascension from the earth. And now, when all these matters had been put into shape, this interesting because we were also reading the New Testament. Then when JC was hung on the cross and crucified, I know, right? Y'all see y'all there? It's gonna be a party. Look. Getting all excited. Hold on. Okay, look. So verse 9, I'm gonna read verse 9 again. We read in the New Testament that JC was crucified, but in here, the person who we may recognize as JC is actually called Joshua in here. And it's some different things that happened with him, and he wasn't crucified. He was actually stoned to death, according to the Oahspe. But we'll get to it in a few weeks. That section is good comparisons, just different things I'd be looking at. Just trying to sort out all this stuff. Okay. Verse 9. Fragapati sent special messengers to God, Samati, to learn the day appointed for Zarathustra's death, and he further allotted to Zarathustra 3 days in Hada. Remember, Hada is what the church calls hell, or in Greek mythology they call it Hades. But we also know that the JC of the New Testament spent 3 days in hell, right? Preaching to the souls there, so that they could be released, right? It's interesting, the similarities, right? Let me read this. Fragapati sent special messengers to God, Samati, to learn the day appointed for Zarathustra's death, and he further allotted to Zarathustra 3 days in Hada in which to preach to mortals by the inspiration of God, and appointed the fourth day thereafter as the time of his ascension from the earth. And now, when all these matters had been put in shape, Fragapati ordered the assembling of the sacred circle of the Holy Council, sons and daughters of the Most High. The lights were raised, and only gods and goddesses could remain in sight of or near the throne of Jehovah. Fragapati commanded Hoab to stand in the midst of the circle, facing the judgment seat. Fragapati said, "Hear the words of thy creator, O Hoab. I called thee up out of the ground, and with mine own spirit quicken I thee into life. From thy youth up, I have followed thee day by day. I have called out to thee from my holy hill. With a woman's tenderness came I after thee. When thou didst try to run away from me, I follow after. Yea, I called my son, high raised in my everlasting kingdoms, and I said unto him, O my son, run thou quickly for Hoab, my well beloved." Let me read that sentence again. And remember, son in here is also interchanged with God or goddess, but daughter is goddess and son is God. Like those who like current ruler, and there's only one God that rules the earth realm at a time, right? Each, I'm sure it'd be a long time, but I think each child who, just like growing up, as children become of age and parents can leave and kind of go away and do stuff, the oldest child, once they become of age, they get a chance to take charge of the house and rule. It's like the same way, right? So there's multiple gods who will rule. Yeah, who's that's Ali to put all those fires. He said prophecy, Selah, Hallelujah. And he just kind of repeated that with the fire and doves. So it's like that the same thing that we're going to experience, we have already been experiencing all of our life in everything that we do. Tegba, Netanya, Israel, Shalom. So it shouldn't be that much of a stretch to really understand this, because we've been doing it like all our life. It's just like the cycle that goes, we're familiar with it, but a lot of time we are asleep to the process that's really happening with us, because nobody's really pointed it out. Okay. Verse 11. Fragapati said, "Hear the words of thy creator, O Hoab. I called thee up out of the ground, and with my own spirit quicken I thee into life. From thy youth up I have followed thee day by day. I have called out to thee from my holy hill. With a woman's tenderness came I after thee. When thou didst try to run away from me, I followed after. Yea, I called my son, my high raised in my everlasting kingdoms, and I said unto him, O my son, run thou quickly, for Hoab, my well beloved, runneth away from me. Go and bring him, for he is my chosen. He shall be my God of the red star. Her heavens shall bow down before him. I will raise him up and anoint him with my holy fire. His countenance shall shine like a sun in my firmament." I'm sorry, y'all. I'm glad with my voice finally clear all the way up. Because this is plucking my nerves. "And Fragapati, my son, overtook thee in thy flight. With great cunning he captured thee unto my labors. And thou hast raised up thy voice and glorified me. Thine arms have been barred to the harvest. Thy fruit is a song of glory. Have I not given thee experience in all things? Even to the precipice of hell made I thee to walk and fall not. The darkness of everlasting death I made to encompass thee. In the hour of thy despair I came to thee and raised thee up. Have I not great profit in thee, my son? My countless millions cry out in all places. They behold me not. They know not of me and my heavenly places. Like a troubled sea that knoweth no rest, the voices of mortals and angels forever cry out, there is no light. Wherefore then was I not wise in thee, O Hoel? I made thee of strong limb and with arms that reach far. Thy judgment I fashioned for the great multitudes. I say to the bird, the young bird with feathers, fly, and it goeth away. I say to man, go forth in my name, but he looketh around. Again I say to him, go forth, but he turneth to his neighbor for his opinion. Again I speak, calling, come to me, but he standeth wondering. Again I say, come, but he saith, by and by. Again I say, come, he replieth, I have not all light. Again I call, and he says, alas, there is nothing. Ain't it just like Regents? Everything else in nature, everything else in creation is doing what it's supposed to be doing except for man. Sorry, y'all. Okay. I know this is horrible, but I can talk, at least get through this. Okay, I figure the more I talk, because it's the most talking I do all day to help my voice and everything just kind of clear out. So I'm like, I'm gonna just keep talking. So forgive me for disgusting coughs and sniffs, y'all. I'm sorry, but I'm just trying to work through it. Like I said, It seemed like I probably talk all day, but I really don't because I be working and stuff. But so I'm really quiet. This is literally the most talking I do every single day. Verse 18, and he goeth down in darkness, he curseth me and accuseth me of errors. He preacheth my shortness, but his words cutteth himself off from me. In the foul smelling places of his darkness, my holy angels cannot come. He burroweth himself in stubbornness that is blind and deaf. But I blow my breath upon the earth and the stars. I drive them into the new roads in the firmament of heaven. Into the dwelling places of my high gods, I drive them as chaff before the wind. And when the light of my heavens hath cleared away the darkness, I send my goals with great power. To this end have I raised thee up, O Hoab. My shield is upon thee. Thou shalt wear the triangle of the red star. 200 years shalt thou hold dominion over the earth and her heavens. In my name speak, O Hoab. Then spake Hoab, saying, Thy voice is upon me, O Father. My limbs are weak. My hands tremble like an old man that is My hands tremble like an old man that is palsied. Behold, I have sought in vain to find anything perfect in me. I am as a trumpet that is bruised and split. There is no harmony or power within me. Thou first gavest me a wife and sons and daughters to rule over and to raise up for thy glory, but I failed utterly. My wife saw not with my eyes, nor heard with my ears, nor judged with my judgments. We were like two instruments, broken and out of tune. Oh, wow. What a whole new light to look upon marriages, right? Whoo, buddy. Some of y'all that got unruly children and unruly wives, and y'all having a hard time putting that together. Oh my G, you must be destined for great things, right? You must gonna rule during the time when everything is gonna be complete chaos, right? And you just getting a little taste of your training right now. Get your own house in order. Let's see how well you do. Father, forgive us all. Help us. Some of us, oh boy, us included, we was ready to tear down our own kingdom quite a few times. Like, forget all this. Y'all sure would not have wanted me ruling at the time in my state of mind. Oh my God. Oh, let me read this again. Listen. I just gotta go back up. Who we at? An hour to a minute. We almost done because we at verse 22. It's 38 verses. Verse 20. To this end have I raised thee up, O Hoab. My shield is upon thee. Thou shalt wear the triangle of the red star. 200 years shalt thou hold dominion over the earth and her heavens. In my name speak, O Hoab. Then spake Hoab, saying, Thy voice is upon me, O Father. My limbs are weak. My hands tremble like an old man that is palsied. Behold, I have sought in vain to find anything perfect in me. I am as a trumpet that is bruised and split. There is no harmony or power within me. Thou first gavest me a wife and sons and daughters to rule over and to raise up for thy glory, but I failed utterly. My wife saw not with my eyes, nor heard with my ears, nor judged with my judgment. We were like two instruments, broken and out of tune. As for my sons, they went astray, like sheep without a herdsman. My advice was as weak to them as the shadow is to the tree. And my daughters went away from my love and chose young men even before my eyes. Oh my gosh, I'm about to start crying. Bro, listen. Oh my gosh. Hold on. Ooh, I'm really about to start crying, y'all. Hold on. Listen. I gotta read it again. Sometimes I'm a glutton for punishment. Let me read verse 22 again. Thou first gave, I guess I'm just a lover of marriages and really wanting to see people work it out. Like, I be rooting for the home team. I be rooting for the underdog. Like, come on, y'all, get it together. Y'all can do this. Y'all can do this. Right. If y'all keep everybody else out your business and learn how to work cohesively as a team, guys, y'all can do this. Y'all really can do this. Let me share this. I shared this before. I know this turned to a whole marriage seminar. Listen, when me and my husband first got married, right? at the we got married at the courthouse. And so afterwards, his parents threw us like this little cookout. So at the cookout, I never forget, and I shared this with y'all a few years ago. So everybody was like congratulating us, and we young. I was already in the military. I had came home on leave and got married, right? And at the cookout, and this was the first time I met my husband's Aunt Louise, right? You know how you got like them big mamas or grandmas or aunties in the family that don't nobody play with Aunt Louise, right? So Aunt Louise is my first time meeting her. She's still just as sweet, and she's a little short lady, just as sweet and low, but she don't take no crap off of nobody. She got like them looks of, oh shoot, Aunt Louise, I'm sorry, Aunt Louise, like her look will straighten you up, right? And she ain't even from my side of the family. You can just there's this aura of like authority and discipline that she just carries, when you can just look and tell like go about your business. You don't even want to look in that direction, because she ain't for your crap, right? Listen. So she came to me and she said, hey baby. I said, hey. And I was like, I'll ask my husband after we walked away. I said, what was her name? He said, that's Aunt Louise. I was like, oh my God, I love her already. And she said, I never forget it. She pulled me and my husband together. She said, listen. She said, first of all, congratulations. She said, now keep everybody out your business, including family. She said, if your marriage is going to work, keep your business to yourself. Not that, because some people grow up, what happened in this house, staying inside. She won't talk about nothing like that. Because she spent a little bit of time talking to us. She said, things are going to get hard. You're going to go through different things or whatever. But the one thing that stick out of that, she said, keep everybody out of your business, including family, and learn how to work together and work it out. And you guys will be okay. I took that to heart, and that's what we literally been doing. Because if we could be going through something, because what I realized were people that share information with me about their marriage, I don't go reshare people's stuff, right? But based on the information that I got and me and my husband practice, and watching some people in their marriage and what they do, and like they put their business all out on social media, they tell everybody what's going on. What happens is, and that what happens is embarrassment. It's your own embarrassment from you running your mouth to people who can't help you, right? Because when you and your spouse decide, what, we're gonna work this out, what y'all dealing with at this point is everybody you done told your business to, and how you think they're gonna look at you for going back to him or going back to her and trying to work through this. When they ain't doing nothing for your household, they living their own life. All they doing is they sit back and they ear hustle and they watching from the sidelines, and they just here to get the tea. Right? They're not helping your family grow or grow apart or whatever, right? And so I learned whoever cannot help you is adding to the problem. And those that can't help you don't need to know your business, right? So no matter what it is, all relationships can recover everything from everything. And I mean, when I say everything, even like adultery and other things. And it's a lot of us that's experienced all of those things, right? But if you got two parties that's willing to work together, especially when you get married young, it's just going to be a whole bunch of foolishness that happens all the time, right? From both parties, right? Or it could be one from more shenanigans from one than it is another, right? It could seem off balance. But if you really in your latter years, in your older days, you will sit back and be able to look at some of the situations that you went into, and you will begin to be like, I could have handled that different or whatever. But a lot of times we're in rage and we're in the throes of passion and we're not thinking straight, right? So it's good to have a solid, I wouldn't say friend, a solid couple, somebody. Because a lot of time people just don't know how to go to y'all, and I get it, right? We need each other. So here's my little tidbit of information for those of you that married. If you're gonna go talk to somebody about your marriage, first of all, don't go talk to people that ain't married, right? Don't go talk to people that they're putting all their business out on social media, because social media wasn't really a thing in our early years. Social media hadn't even started. We was just getting cell phones coming out of high school, right? I got my first cell phone after I got out of boot camp. So we didn't have to deal with any of this, but you still got people talking. But go talk to people whom you have actually looked at and vetted, and who is still married, who's been married a long time, and you can see their life. Not that they're perfect, but you can see that there's something good that they have there, right? They have some wisdom that they can share with you. Don't go talk to people. Everybody know their business. So you know that Sarah done did what, Johnny done did who, what. Don't go talk to them because they just gonna give you more foolish information. Remember that story I shared with y'all about my girlfriend who's remember the whole cooking story about my husband. I know how my husband liked to eat and cook in our arrangement that we had in our house. And I decided to take some dumb information from my dumb friend who is no longer married, by the way, right? Because she take her own dumb information and she tore down her own house with her own hands. Talk about that type of woman in Proverbs. Yeah, you got to vet the information on people that you get your information from, right? And if you don't have anybody around you that has a stable marriage from what you can see, then I would say find a counselor. But I will also vet the counselor, right? Ask the counselor, is you married? How is your marriage counseling? You ain't married. How are you gonna, like one of the ones who bought it before? We went to marriage counseling, and there was somebody who was on their second marriage. Not that there's anything wrong with it, because things happen, right? But we had been married longer than the marriage counselor had been, and then his we had been longer married than the first marriage counselor. And as we began to talk, so we began to ask questions, because we silly, but we had issues. I think it's our humor that kind of keeps us going. So we began to ask questions or whatever, but then we began to detect a little bit of in this particular counselor, we began to detect a little bit of like uh fierceness or like bitterness towards his first spouse. Is like, ooh, yeah, you ain't even, we can tell you haven't really gotten past that. Excuse me, we saw that counselor twice. It was like, we don't need no kind of information from you, right? So after doing that, going to a couple different counselors, like talking to our pastor, there was one couple that we could talk to, and they're unbiased. Um, and granted, they're part of my family, but they have been shown, they've been married way longer than us, and they live their lives righteously at best all ways they can. So they became our confidants, right? And we knew they weren't gonna be putting all our business out in the street. They was gonna tell us, they weren't gonna take sides. They're gonna like, you wrong, Pam, or James, you wrong. You need to find somebody like that, right? If you're having issues, you need to find somebody like that that's gonna give you good advice, not somebody like, girl, he did what? Oh no, don't. Sometimes that hype us up, like, girl, you don't need nobody like that. Although that's what your flesh want at the time, you do not need people like that giving you advice about your marriage. I cannot stress that enough. You cannot go to them. You have to go to somebody completely unbiased. Otherwise, you're going to have major regrets when your family is destroyed, right? And when your family is destroyed, it's not just you and your spouse. If you have children, your children will be destroyed in the process. So, okay, let me get off my little soapbox. But let me go back to what Hoab was saying. So, okay, verse 22. Let me just go back to 21. Then spake Hoab, saying, thy voice is upon me, O Father. My limbs are weak. My hands tremble like an old man that is palsied. Behold, I have sought in vain to find anything perfect in me. I am as a trumpet that is bruised and split. There is no harmony or power within me. Thou first gavest me a wife and sons and daughters to rule over and to raise up for thy glory, but I failed utterly. My wife saw not with my eyes, nor heard with my ears, nor judged with my judgment. We were like two instruments, broken and out of tune. As for my sons, they went astray, like sheep without herdsmen. My advice was as weak to them as a shadow is to the tree. And my daughters went away from my love and chose young men even before my eyes. Then I cried out to thee, saying, O Jehovah, why gavest thou me a kingdom? Behold, it is scattered and gone. Then I went down into the grave in sorrow. But thy hand raised up my soul in heaven, and thou gavest me another kingdom. But my people would not see through my eyes, nor hear through my ears. Then I sought to know if my eyes were not wrong, and my ears wrong, and my judgment wrong. And I turned about like one who was lost in a forest, and shutteth his eyes as to the direction of the sun, going by the sound of a multitude of tongues. And my kingdom drew a boundary around itself and shut out all light. But thy son came and delivered me and my people. Behold, I was as a weak child. In my weakness, thy light came upon me. Nevermore shall I desire others to see through my eyes, or hear through my ears, or judge by my judgment. Thou hast healed me of my infirmity, O Jehovah. Only by one eye can things be seen through. By one ear can things be heard through. By one judgment can things be judged. Thou hast said, go forth in my name. I will go, O Father. Thou hast said, thou shalt have dominion over the earth and her heavens. This will I accomplish also by thy light and power, O Jehovah. Then spake Jehovah through Fragapati, saying, accept the earth, O Hoab, my son, my God. It is thine to keep and rule over. Accept atmosphere, O Hoab, my son, my God. It is thine to keep and rule over. Hoab said, I will be thy son, O Jehovah. I will be thy God, O Jehovah. From thee I accept the earth to keep and rule over. From thee I accept the earth's heavens to keep and rule over. Again Jehovah spake through Fragapati, saying, what thou doest, henceforth do thou in my name, for it is of me, and is me in thee. Hoab said, what do I henceforth do in thy name, O Jehovah? For I know it is thee. Hey, shush y'all. For I know it is thee in me that doeth all glorious things. Jehovah spake through Fragapati, saying, with mine own hands weave I a crown for thee, my son, my God of the red star. I place it on thy head for the glory of my kingdoms, which are endless in number and full of holiness. Wear thou my crown, for it is with wisdom and power. Then Fragapati's hands were waved about by the great spirit, and a crown was woven and placed on Hoab's head, and it was brilliant and white, studded with gems, countless millions. And after millions, it has reference 45, and it says, studded with countless millions of gems. And we're on verse 32. We only got a few more verses, y'all. We'll be done. Hoab said, crown from thy hand, O Father, I accept it and wear it, emblem of thy emblems, endless in number and full of holiness. I know that thou wilt ever be with me in wisdom and power. I will glorify thee forever. My kingdoms shall glorify thee forever. The chief marshal now conducted Hoab to the throne of Jehovah, which had been previously vacated, and Hoab sat in the midst of the throne. In the meantime, the Essenars chanted a hymn of glory. Hoab then said, Fragapati, son of Jehovah, Orion chief, come thou and honor my throne in the name of the Father. Then Fragapati went to the throne and sat thereon. Next, Hoab called up Athavra, then Hapaka, and then the other gods and goddesses. And now, whilst the council held, Fragapati said, behold, the time of the death of Zarathustra have come. Be ye here, and I will go quickly down to the earth and receive God and him, and the host of gods and his lords. So so it's good, y'all. When you on track, they come, the right people come to get you, y'all. The right ones come to get you. And you ain't dragged down to be a drooge. Okay. And now, whilst the council held, Fragapati said, behold, the time of the death of Zarathustra have come. Be ye here, and I will go quickly down to the earth and receive God and him, and the host of gods and his lords. So Fragapati departed and sailed swiftly down to Parsi on the earth, and came to the place of meeting of the Corporeans who had charge of the holy word. And it was on the morning of the fourth day after Zarathustra's death. For 3 days and nights, his spirit had been preaching to the faithists, explaining the kingdoms of Jehovah. So Fragapati called unto God, saying, behold, my son, thy labor is done. In thee have I great delight. Behold, my ship lieth by the river. My lights are raised for everlasting thrones. God, Samati said, it is finished. That thou that that thou didst put upon me have I done. Behold, here standeth there Zarathustra, my son. Zarathustra was then taking leave of his corporal friends, for his soul was fast becoming illuminated. Yea, he had looked up and beheld the ship of all light, and he knew now the voice of the Father. Last verse. So Phagapati went and took Zarathustra in his arms, saying, come, my beloved, thy home is yonder. So they went into the ship of fire and ascended to Monroe. Oh, y'all, this was so good today. Like every day is always good. I just love it all. I love it all. Okay. So with that being said, I'm gonna have to get my little marker here. So with that being said, that is it for today. What time is it? Oh, yes. You heard it. You hear me mention Orion Chief?
Let me go ahead and go my room.
Yeah, I had to order him one. Listen. Jeremiah's like, can you get me one, please?
And he was one.
I got him one. And I got my oldest son, Elijah, when I haven't given it to him yet. I'll be seeing him today. But he was like, can you please get me one of them? Because, I'll be marking up my stuff, and he wanted his own to mark up. And so yesterday, it was because of Jeremiah's wisdom that I decided to go ahead and make a playlist, right? I know playlists were there in YouTube, but what'd you say about playlists and how it irks you that people don't have playlists?
Bro, I swear to God. So,
because he be looking, he's like, where's your video? He said, you got them all here. He said, I need to go in order because he's not here in the mornings a lot of the time when I'm doing the videos. He said, I know other people didn't kind of recorded it, but I like listening to you because you add in all the stories and stuff. He said, can you put them in order? Go ahead. What you say about the playlist?
So with the playlist, it minimalizes that whole scrolling through their page, finding each and every one.
Because I got almost 1,000 videos. He said it's too hard to look for it that way. He said, just put all your stuff in the playlist. That way, everybody that's looking for your stuff can go right to the playlist and watch it in order. I was like, you know what, Jeremiah, that's smart. So right after he told me that, I was like, let me go ahead and do this. I set up the playlist. So if you want to, if you want to start with the Oahspe, go right to the playlist and you'll see Oahspe first year reading, whatever I put for the title. For the main channel here and also for the backup channel, I did the same exact playlist, the same exact stuff in both playlists, right? So no matter where you see me, because I know some people, they don't realize they may be at the backup channel and they're looking for me live, and they realize they're on my backup channel, and they'll kind of go back and forth, and I'll be getting comments. I was like, okay, this is the main channel here. But I want to make sure it's in both places. And whenever you pull up the Oahspe or you type in Oahspe, I'm trying to be found in the search engine because I don't know the enemy, well, with the exception of Selah Shalom TV, but he don't read it straight through. He kind of read portions of it and he expounds on it, which is really, really good. If y'all haven't been to his channel, y'all have to go subscribe to that man's channel. He been doing this our first year. He been doing this for over 12, however long. But he been here. He got old videos going through the Oahspe. Dude is he the truth with it, right? I'm just a reader, right? So I'm reading stuff, but I wanted to keep it a nice playlist for those who wanna that they don't they may cannot get it. They may work too much. If they can just put it in their ear, whistle while they work, they can listen to it. Please say yes, went straight to the playlist. I'm glad you did that because I was on your channel last night. Went straight to the playlist. Yeah, so I hope that helps. And anybody that's starting to look for when they type it in, maybe y'all, hopefully, my name will pop up in there or whatever. So I'm trying to do the little hashtags and stuff. So when they type it in, at least they can find something that's in order. If they can deal with the shenanigans in my background and all the billions of stories that I add in, making a video extra long, then they might enjoy it. But some people is don't add that stuff and just read the book. That's it. That's all we want to hear. Then this may not be the channel for you, because this is a channel of growth.
I'm gonna be honest, doing the stories and stuff. Some people just want the book straight up, but it's better to do it with the stories because your mind actually gets to digest the information you receive.
Oh, thank you, Pastor. Yes.
I thought we agreed that pastors is a no-no.
Well, listen, son, you're destined for greatness, right? You have more wisdom than most 19-year-olds that I know. Like I take your wisdom. I remember, listen, Jeremiah was a baby. This is when we were still in the church. So a little, I think I may have shared this, may not. There was this little short Jewish guy, him and his wife, Reverend Mulford. I don't know if they still alive. It's been a really long time. And they was already like in their 80s when we met them. Little short old Jewish couple. They literally lived in Jerusalem. They had come here. But they had came to the church we was going to, to speak and everything. Is really, really nice. They had taught us some things or whatever. But when they was leaving, they was just kind of like blessing all the children and stuff. And so we allowed them, I felt comfortable. I let them lay their hands on, we only had Jeremiah and Elijah at the time, but he laid his hands on both my sons. And when he got to Jeremiah, I could tell you what he said about Elijah, but I'm specifically bringing this up about Jeremiah because we be calling him professor and pastor and stuff. He laid his hands on him. He said, you were named well. He said, you were named just like the prophet Jeremiah in the Bible. And he said, even as you grow, you are going to say things that are going to startle mom and dad. And Jeremiah all through life, and I keep that little prophecy close to my heart. Some of the things this boy say, me and James, we get in the room sometimes and feel like Jeremiah and chastise. Like, listen, hold on. First of all, he ain't going to be talking to us like that. But we be thinking about this, and some of the stuff he says, like, oh man, okay, it's time to go. Okay, but yeah. So I did the playlist for y'all, right? So let me finish my thought. We just see y'all's goodness in his life and the wisdom that follows his life. And he's still a teenager, but at times when he speak, like I can see like the overshadowing coming upon him. It's like, okay, Pam, pull yourself together, listen, because this is the Father probably speaking through him right now, right? Sometimes you got to get over, listen, child, I'm grown. Sometimes you got to learn how to put that whole grown attitude away, because y'all teaches us even through the smallest of children. We got to really learn how to be humble, because we can learn a lot from children. If we don't taint the children, they will continue to grow in greatness and in the power of the most holy. And they will literally be a force. They will literally be forces to reckon with, even in their early ages, right? So we try our best not to taint our children and be like, because I see it so. And we try to grow out of doing stuff like that, so we don't hinder their growth and what Yah wants to do with them and through them, right? Because they're our children, but not for real. They're just on loan to us, right? They're like whole human beings. They're like whole spirits that are rule and reign. They're literally, even though they are children here in the flesh, they're literally our brothers and sisters that we're helping raise up. Like, we should all grow up together, because think about how you get when they're out of the childhood stage and like literally like become friends. And you kind of like, if you hang out with your kids, sometimes we hang out with our kids as they get older. Well, we hang out with them all the time. If you see them, you're gonna see us. We sit and talk to them. We give them the space to talk like they're adults, respectfully. Sometimes they may be going through something and it may be tough. Like my older son, Mags, we just give them the freedom to talk, whatever. Curse words may fly, whatever. We understand the throes of passion and heatedness and stuff. Like, go ahead, but they will try to tell me, Mom, I'm so sorry. I'm like, go ahead, just speak your mind, speak your mind. So just like get it out. So they're learning, we're learning from them, adjusting things, but it's all good, y'all. All right. So with that being said, let me stop running my mouth. Let's get out of here, because I actually got to go get my oldest son right now. All right. It is Friday, y'all. June the 17th, 20. Y'all want to ride with me? You need to wake up your bedroom. Okay, well, they're going to stay with you while you over there doing yoga, son.
No.
Well, no, listen, because I'm about literally, as soon as I hang this up, I'm out. That appointment at 10 o'clock.
I'm going to be a big brother real quick. I'm going to look at my brothers in the most big brother way possible. So anyway, y'all thinking, it's happening.
All right, y'all. It is Friday, June the 17th, 2022, day 135 of year 4, reading through the books of the Law and the Prophets, and of the 4-year consecutive day count, day 1153. We read pages 227 to 232 in the book of Fraggle Patty in the Oahspe. I hope y'all enjoyed it today. I truly did. I'm going to share with y'all the chart of the hierarchy, God, Lord, God, all that stuff. It's gonna be in a couple hours because I gotta like get out of here. So that is it.
Mom, I can get some cake
I'll just
too.
say add tags to your video in description and add Oahspe somewhere in the title, following your title, because that's how it pops up in the search. Oh yes, thank you, Audrey. Okay, so look, my titles already be like super long. And so I be having to scrunch them down to try to fit in everything I need to fit. So that's what I think I'm gonna start. But I think I might go back and adjust my previous titles because it's already for the playlist for the Oahspe. There's already 58 videos, right? Today being, the 59th video. So I'll probably go in and I'll just add Oahspe for the ones that don't have. I know a couple of videos got Oahspe in the title, but I'll go in and I'll just adjust the title and I'll put Oahspe in the title. It's definitely always in the description box, and it's a place to add tags at the bottom. I'll make sure I put them all there. And I seen something about thumbnail. I don't know how you add tags to thumbnails, but I don't know. That's too much. This is too much for me right now. I got too much going on to create thumbnails. I be thinking about it. I really be wanting to, but take too much time, creativity and stuff. I probably have to just pay somebody to do thumbnails. I considered it. I may still do it. Have somebody like pay somebody, like go to Fiverr or something. Hey, can you go? This is the type of channel I need to explain something. Okay, this. Don't go changing nothing in my title. I just need thumbnails. Look at it. Maybe watch a couple snippets to get the gist of it. Make sure they might start watching the videos. But I need somebody. I just can't have anybody like doing it for real. I need somebody that's not just in it like for the money. But I need it to like capture. I really don't want like generic stuff either. I really need somebody that really knows what it's all about and can do the thumbnails and like make it good. I don't want clickbait. Although some of my titles may seem like clickbait, but it's not for real if you watch the whole video, because whatever's in my title, we said somewhere in the video. I just need it not to be deceiving, but I need it to be catchy. Y'all see what I'm saying? So I just, I'm trying to develop all this, but for the people that's looking for truth, I'm trying to do everything that I can in my power to help put truth out there for people like me that's looking for stuff, that's giving references and everything. So I know there's a bunch of people out there like me looking for stuff, and somebody they ain't gonna try and candy coat, try and get no money out of you or none of that stuff. So I'm looking for people like that. I'm trying to help them along the way. So I know they searching, so I'm trying to put stuff out there so I can pop up when they looking for stuff. And it's like, oh, and hopefully they get a hold of the references. Maybe they have references that I'm looking for and they can share with me. We here, we helping one another. All right, y'all. So with that being said, that's it. I got to get out of here. Monte Elijah, I'm on my way. Yes, you can do that for the other books you read also, because they're searching the book and not so much the catchy title. Okay. All right. We're gonna work it out. Thank you, Audrey. Lindsay, thank you. All right, y'all. That being it today, I love y'all. May y'all bless you in all that you do. May your day be blessed. Now I'll see y'all back here tomorrow morning. 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Peace.
I want to get some cake.